Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, wassalatu wassalam ala Sayyidil Mursaleen, amma ba'd. A question is asking, and this is a frequently asked question actually, and we actually go through it in the course when it comes to the conditions of a woman's dress code. They are actually quite similar to male dress code in comparison, actually. It's quite surprising. But the question actually that we've got here is the Jilbaab Wajib? Meaning, does she have to cover in one garment, or can she have several garments? Can she have two? Can she have three, etc.? Now, some of the scholars have said the Jilbaab is wajib. Ya Nabi, قل لأزواجك وبناتك ونساء المؤمنين يدنين عليهن من جلابيبهن. The plural of Jilbaab has been mentioned here. And if you go back to the tafsir of the ayah, you will find Abdullah bin Mas'ud and others have said that the woman should cover with a jilbab, and she should cover her awrah, and that one garment should fall from head to toe, not leaving any gap for anything except for her eyes. And with that, many of the ulama, including some of the contemporaries, have said that the jilbab in and of itself is wajib. She has to wear the jilbab. But others from the ulama, and there is a fatwa from the Lajna Da'ima, and I would say this is the view of even from the madhahib, that they have said, from the four madhahib, that they have said that the purpose and the intent of the ayah, jilbab, but the purpose of the hijab in general is that she covers her awrah. And what we mean by covering the awrah, as we will see from the explanation from Shaykh Aziz bin Baz, rahimahullah, is that she covers the shape, she covers the transparency, so you can't see through it. It doesn't have a smell to it. It's not attractive in and of itself. It doesn't imitate any particular dress code except for a Muslimah. It doesn't bring attraction to her. I know we said that before, but this is now separate because this is known as libas, a shuhra, meaning maybe she's wearing something which is not bringing attraction, but it just looks weird, for example. That's not allowed. These are from the conditions also. So, I mean, the question though, let's just stick to that because we don't want to go through the conditions of the hijab and the dress code. The question, quite strictly, is the jilbab wajib? This is the question that we're trying to answer. Here we're going to have an answer from Shaykh Aziz bin Baz.
تستر جسمها دون جلباب أسود طويل وجهنا جزاكم.
Is it permissible for a woman to leave the house wearing a normal garment where she is covering her body completely, but it's not black and it's not long? Direct us, may Allah grant you with goodness.
الله خيرا. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله.
It begins with the basmala, and obviously this is the beginning of the majlis of the question and answer session. So he begins with praising Allah and how you would normally begin the majlis.
وسلم على رسول الله وعلى آله وأصحابه ومن اهتدى بهداه. أما بعد فلا حرج.
You can see what he's saying. It's the transcription is there. فلا حرج المرأة أن تخرج في ملابس ساترة. This is the thing. There is no harm, meaning it's permissible. فلا حرج, لا حرج is a terminology that is used with the ulama to refer to permissibility. Yep. For a woman to leave the house when she's wearing a garment which is covering.
المرأة أن تخرج في ملابس ساترة
ليس فيها فتنة. This is libas al-shuhra that we're talking about, but also this includes the attraction. So the fitna here refers to she'll be attractive to the opposite gender. So she could say, oh, I'm wearing a hijab, I'm wearing a jilbab, but you know that's still gonna, either the color or the shape or whatever, or it just looks wrong in society. ليس فيها فتنة.
ليس فيها فتنة وإن كان ليس فوقها جلباب وإن كانت ليس فوقها جلباب لكن وجود الجلباب والعباءة أكمل.
Okay, so now here he's saying رحمه الله وإن كان ليس فوقها أو فوقها جلباب, even if she is wearing something and she hasn't got a jilbab on top of it, but if she wore a jilbab on top of it, this will be better. Now with this, I mean, we translate this a while back. Somebody asked about women wearing coats. Like I've said, some of the contemporaries, and I believe this is the view of Sheikh Al-Albani, you're not allowed to wear a coat because it shows the shape of the shoulder and the arms, etc. Right? So some of them said you have to wear a jilbab. Whereas Sheikh Nazim bin Baz, Sheikh Salih Fawzan, Sheikh Al-Haydan, the Mufti, the current Mufti, etc., all of them have the same opinion on this. And like I've said, you won't be far-fetched and say that this is the view of the majority of the madhahib. And this is what the Sheikh is saying here, that if she's wearing a garment, right, and the jilbab is not on top, so she's wearing a winter coat and she's not wearing the jilbab on top, then there's nothing wrong with that. If what she's wearing is the jilbab or the aba'ah, which is similar to the jilbab, so it's a long garment that goes from top to bottom, then this is akmal, this is better, because this is what the ayah mentions, and this is more concealing.
لأن الملابس الأخرى قد تبين بعضها.
This is because other garments قد تبين بعد حجم أعضاء, it could show the shape of some of her limbs.
الأعضاء فإذا كان الملابس وافرة كافية ساترة للرأس والوجه والبدن فلا بأس.
But then he's saying here, rahimahullah, as long as she is then covered, like I said, it doesn't show the shape, it's not exposing of her, even if it's not the jilbab, and it's covering her body and it's covering her face. So let's say, for example, she's wearing a two-piece garment, it's loose, that the Shaykh is saying, it's wide, and she's covering her face, فلا بأس, even if it's not a jilbab. But if she wore the jilbab, it would be better. Of course, nobody's contending that. But the issue is it wajib for her to wear the jilbab? And the Shaykh has answered by saying, no, as long as what she's wearing is concealing from all of the aspects that we mentioned. And the evidence for this is the ayah here. O Prophet, say to your wives and your daughters and the believing women that they draw the jilbab over their bodies. But if she leaves her house with the jilbab, this would be better. And it's furthest away from fitna. And it covers her more completely. And this is the aba'ah as well. So the aba'ah is basically similar to the jilbab, where it's a long garment. He's saying the same thing again. It's better, it's more complete, it's wider. But if she's got garments that she is wearing, but it's still complete, it's still covering her, and she's covering her hair, she's got tarh, meaning what we would call the hijab, and her whole body is covered, then she's completed the objective as to what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is commanding. This is what we were saying in the beginning. Is the jilbab wajib in and of itself or not? So the Shaykh is saying here that the objective is that she covers. That's the objective. And to be honest, I mean, the Shaykh hasn't mentioned this here, but you will find other instances from the times of the companions that they used to cover themselves with whatever was available. So when they used to go out for Salatul Eid, some of them covered themselves in something which is similar to a blanket. It's not a jilbab. So the Shaykh is saying here that tasattur
مع ستر جميع البدن حصل المقصود. إذا المقصود التستر والبعد عن أسباب الفتنة.
And أسباب الفتنة. So what he's saying here is the point is that you conceal and you put a barrier between you and the fitna as much as you are able. فالجلباب والعباءة.
فالجلباب والعباءة ونحوهما فوق الثياب يكون أكثر.
Wearing the jilbab will be more complete. And this is the answer that the Shaykh has given. Like I said, there are others from the ulama have given a similar answer to this, and with this then we can understand that the jilbab necessarily is not wajib. But with that we also have to understand that the person can't go against the customs of the people. So if everybody's wearing the jilbab, you can't walk out saying, well, it's not wajib, so I'm going to contradict that. And from this we also then learn that especially in the colder countries, that women can go out with something which is concealing but also keeping them warm and protected and away from fitna, as the Shaykh has mentioned here. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He conceals us in the life of this dunya and He gives us the libas of taqwa, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives us the best of returning when we return back to Him. هذا والله أعلم وصلى الله